you can see as the tide comes up, the bags come up. As the tide goes down, the bags go back down again. This is called a tumble farm, if you will. It tumbles the oysters. So it makes the oyster have a deeper cup, harder shell, but it also changes the meat quality slightly. So this is something newer we've been doing a little bit of. So we've always talked about, even with our chefs and our GMs, in terms of buying standards for what produce or fish we're going to buy, is ask questions and know that there aren't any absolutes. Yes, we want it to be as local as possible. We want it to be organic as much as possible. But the main thing is know something about it. Who is the farmer? Who are we getting this from? Restaurateurs have different approaches, but we still sell to other restaurants beyond our own. So we have really good relationships with a lot of restaurants in the Bay Area and we're in a lucky position because I sell so many oysters. I don't have to sell any oysters to anybody, so we choose who we sell to. So we want to make sure that their ethos is like ours, that they are honoring what we're giving them. And so it just leads into a network of people who believe in food the way we believe in food should be done and produced and served. So it's a great network. So we take the tops of our racks come off 4 bags at a time. There's about 200 oysters a bag, so it's 800 oysters each time they pick one of those up. And this stuff, we'll see that later. They'll be bringing it in and sorting by size. Cleaning them up a little bit and then getting them in our filtered seawater tanks, ready for sale. I think seafood in general, and I know fish farming sometimes gets a knock, and it depends on what fish are being farmed and how. But if you look at just life cycle analysis in terms of how much energy or water or whatever it takes to grow food, you can do that more efficiently with seafood, with anything grown in water, essentially. Cold-blooded fish or filter feeders or seaweed, for instance. I think seaweed has a big role to play going forward. This is something called ova. This is sea lettuce. This is actually an edible seaweed. We're playing around with drying it and using it in different applications. This is a species of porphyra, which is related to nori. So we've worked with a few people who have seaweed companies to dry this and use this in products. And so we're trying to get all the permitting in place to do more of this. So this just grows naturally on all this gear. This is a type of, it doesn't look real great right now, a type of gracilaria, which is related to the seaweed you would get in a seaweed salad at a sushi bar. So all this is just around. We are already experimenting on our end, and we want to see more of that. And definitely more fish. I mean, there are some things to be figured out with fish meal and this and that and fish feed, but we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's a way to produce food fairly efficiently.
So this is a line-caught halibut out of the Marin Coast, just off small day boats. It's the one fish that's basically constantly on our menu. Usually just doing halibut crudos with it. Do a little cucumber, avocado with this chili de árbol sesame oil. When I do the crudos, I don't necessarily marinate it. It gets a really big squeeze of lime juice, so it's not cooking it at all. It's just sitting on top, just right before it gets to your table. It's so fresh. It's within a day, caught, brought to us, and then me eating it. Same with the oysters, really. It's just so nice to see where it's from and have it so souped.
My Three favorite ways to consume oysters. I mean, one is definitely raw in a half shell. Maybe just a squeeze of lemon, nothing else. Secondly would be barbecued. You know, that's a big thing in Northern California, and there's different ways of doing it. We have different compound butters. A big popular one here is we do a chipotle bourbon garlic butter. My actually favorite one is a harissa oyster. Just harissa on an oyster grilled, I think is just out of this world. And then, you know, one of our chefs a little while ago did a sort of Manhattan-style clam chowder, if you know what that is, with, you know, sort of a tomato base with veggies in it. And he threw smoked oysters in there. And I thought that was phenomenal. So smoked oysters is definitely on the list.
Oysters have been the most sought-after delicacy around the world. Due to its high demand, it is crucial to farm and grow them continuously, so as to make them available for our future generations. Oysters help our ecosystem by improving water quality, protecting shorelines, and helping sediment stabilization, nutrient cycling and sequestration, and making a good habitat for other organisms. Recently, large-scale cultivation of oysters and other shellfish has been proposed as a method to combat climate change.
There's a little kind of mud shrimp that grows out here in the mud flats. He was underneath a bag of oysters. He'll burrow sometimes down in the mud. Being a biologist from back in the day, that's the fun part. You can see all the crabs that are running around. It's just seeing all the life out here and seeing how it's even different from different times of the year. And one of the things I'm proud of is the amount of biodiversity that's out here, you know, so I'm good. You know, we talk a lot about sustainability.